So I think South Bay Customs can be summed up in 3 simple words, and that's motors, art, music. We design and build custom motorcycles. We produce live music. We host amazing artists in just about every genre of art, from painting, sculpture, assemblage, and we bring them all together in a way that I don't think has ever been done before.
This week, well, we've got a couple really routine service jobs to do. I'm gonna get those out of the way first thing. My apprentice Ben that I've been telling you about.
I'm Benjamin Paul Browno, I'm 17, and I started working with Michael last September. I joined my school's work experience program, which basically just lets you get out of school early, go work, get a little life experience along with your education. And I looked through all the businesses that we already had a relationship with, and none of them really interested me. So I just got my motorcycle license over the summer and decided to look for somewhere that I could sort of use as an outlet for my enthusiasm for motorcycles, and I just found South Bay Customs and reached out to Michael, and ever since it's just been amazing. Everything about it is just unique and original, and there's no place that I would rather work.
This is something that the customer has had his hands in many times for the last couple of months. So whatever the original problem that existed has probably been compounded by being misdiagnosed and improperly repaired, and it came in pieces. So I mean, I'm not even starting from scratch. I'm starting from a bit of a basket case. Pete, Michael, South Bay Customs. The galling on the main shaft is an issue, and that's probably why it's not rotating, true. And yeah, and in fact, now that galling is transferring to the inside of your new clutch hub. I wouldn't waste your time or your money putting this thing back together as is. Got some music happening this week. Got a big show here on Friday night.
As a huge live music fan, I've been going to see live music, for 25 years. And I enjoy just watching a very solid, talented act play music. But for me personally, I've always been obsessed with, everything else that goes on with the production in terms of the lights and the atmosphere and stuff. So yeah, I do, in my humble opinion, I do feel like I'm sort of like the fifth Beatle, fourth Beatle. How many Beatles were there? I feel a lot of things. Usually, right about now, I'm cool, excited, looking forward to tonight. Around about 6, 7 o'clock when things start ramping up and people are, bands are loading in and all the logistics have to be laid out. I get very frantic, and it's just kind of stay out of my way and don't get offended by how rude I'm going to be, because I'm just on a mission to get things set up. And then, 8 o'clock comes, the doors open, I sit down and get in my little zone behind the board with the lights and the video and the audio. Maybe crack a beer, and then it's just good times from then on out. It was tough in the beginning. The first few months that I had the shop, I couldn't even afford a bike lift. I did all my work for 2 or 3 months on the ground. Real pain in the ass. But pretty much all that I do is reinvest all the profits from the place back into it. It's just a constant, slow building process. The shop is pretty well set. It has been for a while now. I spend all my money on the music venue side. My obsession with the music venue. My girlfriend might even call it a sickness.
Well, SBC, I did the majority of the artwork there. It was always Michael's vision to do a motorcycle shop and then to have live music. And then when he and I met, he saw how much art was important to me, and color and pattern. And so he decided when he got this spot that it was a beautiful way to display art. Not just only mine, but just people that I liked and art that I collected. And so he had told me that he wanted to do his motorcycle and the stage and do the lights, but that he wanted me to decorate the walls with any kind of art that I liked. And so a lot of it was just stuff that I had here because I've been at this apartment for 20 years. And so I'm always constantly changing and finding new things. And so I was decorating the shop with that stuff.
I don't know shit about business. I mean, I've learned as I've gone along, and I'm definitely way more business savvy than I was 7 years ago. But it was not the business end that drove me. It was passion and just my love for what I do. I'd be doing this if I wasn't standing here talking to you, doing this right now at SBC. I'd be doing it at home in my garage. I mean, one way or the other. I'm lucky enough that I get to do it as a business.
And some of my artwork's out here. I made this piece right here. This is a heart, and these are some of the bullets that I fired when I went shooting with Michael and our friend Dave. And then my friend Caesar, he also does these globes, so he made me this bird bride and this one. And this piece is like really important to me. It's about trying to reach for something, the obstacles you have to face in getting it. And it's another piece I did right here. And I think one of my biggest things that I like is contradiction. So when there's good, there's always something like scary. Or when there's something, that looks like it would hurt, there's always something that's very delicate.
Going to pick up a build that's kind of been sitting around for a while. Haven't had a chance to really make much progress on it because we've been so busy during the summer. Now that things are kind of tapering off a little bit, I'd like to get some progress made on that. So this was a bike that actually I started helping a friend build years ago. I sort of more offered my shop for him to use because he wanted to try his hand at building a bike for himself. He got about as far as you see it here and just a basic roller, and for one reason or another got distracted, lost interest. It kind of got sidelined I think it's literally been 5 years, and it's just been sitting here kind of back and forth between my shop and his house. And finally I just pitched the notion to him a couple months ago that he just turned the project over to me, letting me finish it. I'll take what he started and I'll finish it with my own, ideas. We'll sell it off and, split up the money accordingly. Just waiting for that moment of divine inspiration.
Got Hank from the local shelter. Went down there like mid-December, about 6 years ago. I knew I wanted a dog. I knew I wanted a dog from a shelter rather than from like a breeder or a pet store or something. So I went down there, had a look around, found Hank, like instantly decided that he was like the dog that I had to have. I mean, dogs have like the most amazing disposition. And walk into the office, tell them I want so-and-so dog, and they tell me that he just got there that afternoon, and by law they have to hold him for like 7 days or something. So I had to take my chances that he would be there when I came back. So 7 days later, which coincidentally happened to be my birthday that year, I was waiting at the door when they opened to make sure that nobody else had come in to get him. As corny as it sounds though, I literally, the reason that I went back and got Hank is I looked into his eyes before I left and I promised him I was going to come back in 7 days. If he was still there, he'd come home with me. So I went and I got him, and I think about it all the time. He's become one of the most important things in my life and a big part of the shop. During the day, usually when I'm working, he's just kind of hanging out in his office, napping or doing whatever. But then you start getting some people around here, like during the shows and stuff. Hank loves the ladies, so the ladies start coming in, and next thing you know, he's walking around schmoozing and just looking cute and doing his thing and getting all the attention from the ladies. Hank's a bit of a celebrity around here. I mean, people will come in just to introduce their friends to Hank. I mean, being at SBC is cool and all, but they really got to introduce their friends to Hank. It's funny. South Bay Customs can be summed up in 3 simple words, and that's motors, art, music. And we bring them all together in a way that I don't think has ever been done before.
Got some music happening this week. Got a big show here on Friday night.
Usually starts out first thing in the morning, make a short shopping list, go get supplies for the night. So just making one of the most important shopping stops of any SBC show, and that's for popcorn. 1 box left and it's open and somebody's taken some. I swear I think there'd be a mutiny if I didn't have popcorn at a show. On to get the second most important component of an SBC show, beer. Okay, we'll come back, usually communicate with the bands a little bit about load-in time, sound check, that kind of thing, then spend a couple hours turning the place into a suitable venue, from kind of change it over from a motorcycle shop where I'm back there building motorcycles, clean it up a little bit, push everything out of the way, get it all set up for, a night of live music.
First thing out of people's minds when they come in to commission a build is they want to know when I can do their concept drawing or when they can see their concept drawing. And it's like, I've never drawn a picture of a bike in my life, and if I did, you probably wouldn't want to see it because I'm a horrible artist. As I build a bike, it probably changes 5 or 10 times over the course of the build from what I even thought it was going to be originally. So I feel like going into it with a dead set idea in mind of this is exactly how the bike's going to look, and I'm going to build what is on this piece of paper. It kind of stifles the creative process, in my opinion. I mean, the exhaust was, 80% finished, but that's one thing that I think that I want to do myself. I'll look at the bike and I'll try to build the exhaust around the idea of the bike rather than just throwing something on because that's what we do.
So the shop truck we picked up about 7 years ago, came from the original owner in Missouri, actually the family of the original owner in Missouri. The owner had passed away 10, 15 years earlier, and it had just been sitting on the family farm. I mean, it's just the total typical barn find story. It was 100% original, one owner, except for just a couple, little monkey rigs that the dude had done over the years. Still had the original 235 straight 6, granny gear, 4-speed, enclosed drive shaft. I mean, the thing was bone stock, except it hadn't been run in 15 years. So we towed it over to the shop, cleaned the hornet's nests out of the dash and the wheel wells, and proceeded to strip it down to a bare frame. I mean, we removed the cab and the bed, took the motor out, cut off every bolt, every bracket, every tab, and just started from scratch with 2 bare frame rails. Cut the rear of the frame in half, put a pretty decent sized step notch in it to accommodate the 4-wheel airbags suspension that we put in. We did 4-wheel disc brakes. It's got an independent front suspension with rack and pinion steering, little small block 350 with a cam in it, and a turbo 350 transmission. And the thing is just flawless. I mean, it just gets down the road, 85 miles an hour is what it loves to do down the freeway, one hand, and I can't get enough of that thing. I absolutely love it. It gets looks everywhere it goes. Didn't touch the paint. Well, that's not true. We put some pinstriping on it, but I mean, it's the same primer that it came from Missouri with. We put a little pinstriping on it, threw the company logo on it, and I drive it every day. In the SBC custom popcorn machine 3000, usually depending on the kind of music that's coming in that night, I'll spend, an hour or so programming the lights that are kind of appropriate to that night's genre of music. Now the hard part of trying to figure out how to make room for the important stuff, beer, around all the secondary stuff like food. So tonight we've got for you Speed Buggy USA, just a really good, solid country sort of cowpunk with a little twang band based here in Los Angeles.
The band's called Speed Buggy USA, and we got together in 1994, and we just met bar scene playing music. You know, I came from New Orleans and came to LA and just met a bunch of different guys. I would love to see us touring with the Rolling Stones, making an insane amount of money. I mean, really, honestly, I mean, you know, jets, full luxury, roadies, major endorsements on anything we possibly want, commercials, liquor commercials, anything we can imagine. But definitely the Rolling Stones would be a great starter to get the wheel rolling, you know. Direct opening, not the opener parking lot band. The direct opener will help. Oh, my bass player just showed up.
Oh,
how you doing?
There he is.
Hi, I'm Brady Sloan and I play bass. The traffic was horrible in LA, but thanks for coming out.
Hi, Chris.
I love.
You too. Mostly everyone who comes here, they always say that they like the venue. It's very welcoming. It's unexpected when they first come in, and also that they just like the way that the music sounds in here because of the way the ceiling is. And they just think it's a good addition to El Segundo because it wasn't like this before. And now since Michael opened his venue, 4 or 5 other places are popping up trying to do the same thing. But we just offer a little bit different because of the type of music and the art that we have here.
When I'm backed into the corner and the cops are at the door, there's always a way out. Open sesame. And the bookshelf moves.